My name is Brian Keith Gamble, and I identify with black, African American, actor, physicist, educator, entertainer, singer, son, brother, uncle, lover. I am human means that I am imperfect, that I am compassionate, that I am hopeful, inspirational, inspired. I grew up in the South, in South Carolina, born and raised there, and just turned 52 years old a few weeks ago, and was having a conversation with some friends of mine, and I was born in 1964, and in South Carolina in 64, even though the Civil Rights Bill was passed in 64, it took a while for kind of social norms to relax at different places throughout the country. So I guess basically what I'm saying is that it wasn't until 1969 in South Carolina, in my hometown, that integration actually really kind of kicked in, and they took away the black and white fountains. And I went through the back door of my pediatrician's office up until that time, until 69. And I remember I was having a conversation with my mom, and I remember the first time we went through the front door, and we were able to use the facilities in the front that were for white kids. And I remember standing there with my mother at the door, and she paused. And years later, I was like, did that really happen? Did she? And I asked her about it, and she said, yeah. She stood there for like almost a minute, like just the two of us. She was holding my hand. She said she was afraid to walk through the door. And I think what I would say is that it feels like I've lived in three different Americas. That America was kind of the last remnant of, Jim Crow in the 60s, Jim Crow in the, up through the 40s, 50s, and into the late 60s. And then 1970, there was this upspringing of kind of a new energy, kind of the Black is Beautiful, the Black Power movement, actually, I guess you'd call it that. And that ushered us into, for the next 30 odd years. And I definitely would say, in retrospect, looking back, that era kind of closed with the election of President Obama. And right now we're in this new thing. It's really exciting for me. And anytime you make progress, it always seems like it's kind of like a two-step forward, one step or half-step back thing. So a lot of think of what's going on in politics, although on the surface it may seem negative, it's really just a reflection of the fact that we have evolved into a new era with much more awareness. Projects like this are popping up all over the place. And so it's putting light in areas that previously were there but were not so clear. And that's a very positive thing, So that's my perspective kind of on the last 50 years of America. And it's really exciting for me because I think that we've come a long way. And I think that we have a very wonderful future ahead of us. Well, I think there is a phrase that I like, kind of pops up in the New Testament. It's a phrase, actually Will.i.am used it. It's I am. It's the idea of I am that I am. That concept, I think, is a concept that points to maintaining a level of presence in one's life. I didn't really understand it when I was younger, when I read it, but now I think it's talking about presence, about maintaining presence, even among the proverbial slings and arrows of the world. Because that's how you are able to stay consistent with your ideals that you truly believe in, even when you're kind of harassed by negativity. And it's also how you can project that out into the world. It's really not, if you can just kind of take care of your own presence and maintain that, that's one way I think of, what's the phrase that you be the change that you want to be? I think it's a very powerful concept. And so that's what I try to adhere to, particularly when I'm, in situations or circumstances that are trying to pull me out of my consciousness. I am Brian Keith Gamble, and I am human.